All right. So, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, nice to have you. Muzilog interview.
I appreciate the opportunity. So this will be good.
Okay. Let's begin with the name. Terretta Storm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how did you come up with the name to get things going?
Of course, my birth name is Terretta, and Storm came about, I guess, from the content of my music. You know, my songs. It's about my life, love and losing, and just trying to find myself as a woman and just being stronger. It's kind of like an alter ego, actually.
Okay.
With the storm, it can cause destruction. It can also bring about renewal. And, that's basically what I'm about, just having an opportunity to find myself. And, I've been through all of this crap, but, I'm back or trying to come back.
I like to look at it from the renewal standpoint,
Yeah.
Things are kind of crazy, and then the storm came through, and then,
you see the rainbow and things
you
like
see a rainbow, then a new plant coming out of the ground kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about let's talk a little bit about your musical background. Do you play an instrument, by the way?
I've never been fully trained in any instrument. I fiddle a little bit with the piano and the drums. I played drums in church. But I was never really trained in any musical instrument.
Okay, so in many cases you might have been self-taught, or
yes.
You kind of observe what was being done, and then you're like, okay, give me those sticks. Let me create a groove over here.
Yes. With piano, not so much. Piano was a little more difficult, but I've written a couple of things.
So you've been in choirs as well, and groups.
I have, all my life actually. In school, the ensemble. I was in drama, and church. I was on the choir, and we'll do praise and worship leader and things like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when did you realize that you had the knack for songwriting?
I think it came about in my marriage, just needing some type of outlet, but it was more based on a religious perspective, So I would write. I started writing for the children. I started writing for the children at my church, and then gradually I just started writing songs about my thoughts. And then, unfortunately, my husband and I split up, and I just started writing about my experience, how I felt, and things like that. And although I am a talker, sometimes I'm not as quite as articulate as I'd like to be. So I find writing, I can write it down. I won't lose my train of thought, or if it doesn't look the way I want, I can use writing as a way to express myself much better.
Yeah, sometimes when you're going through, it happened to me too, but I think with creative people, once you're going through an experience, sometimes the best way to have a little therapy is to actually just write. You write your feelings down, just express it on a piece of paper, or in the computer, in the notes. But were you doing poetry first and then turn them into songs, or did everything come together for you? Like, was it a song, the melody, everything came together? What was it like?
Well, as a teenager, I did write a lot of poetry, but as an adult, I usually like to use the bathroom. I guess because of the acoustics. But it happens differently each time. I may come up with the melody first and add the words, or I may have some words and just try to think of some music to go with it. So it varies from time to time.
Well, it's not strange to use the bathroom. Take Six used to use the bathroom, the acoustics in there.
Yes. Yeah.
Would really help. So, you're not alone there. Everybody at one point had to rehearse somewhere where the acoustics was where the acoustics was good. Yeah. So who are some of your influences? Who are some of the folks that and they don't all have to be stars. They could be, regular folks that influenced you as well.
I would say I like all genres. And lately I find myself listening to music from back in the 80s and 90s. I guess, that's what I remember the best. But I like Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson. I like Linkin Park. I do Jimi Hendrix and Common. There's a variety of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you said something interesting. Like you said, you're listening to music in the 80s. That is a cool concept because a lot of the music then had a lot of heart, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You had to have imagination.
Yeah.
In a lot of aspects.
Music has changed a lot, but it's like when I turn to that station, not only does it bring back, a lot of fond memories, but it just seems a little more in depth, like people took more time to.
It was. I think from a recording standpoint, a lot of times. Back then, you couldn't really tell what the stuff is going to sound like in the end.
Right.
Today with the equipment and the technology we have, you can kind of lay it down and kind of see where it's going to go. Like, okay, it's going to probably sound like this when we're finished. But back then, the process was a little bit different. So, you'd have you'd write the song, you rehearse with your band, and then you had to go to the studio and figure out, okay, how could we make this sound the way we would like it, the way we're hearing it. So it was really more of imagination. I think the imagination element was a lot stronger in the music of yesterday. You're talking about the 80s, but just imagine someone who wrote a song in the 40s or the 50s, and they didn't even have
all that right.
what we have right now. Just imagine that kind of imagination that you had to have with it. So, but the fact that you're tapping back into that period, it is there's something about the 80s music that I think it's the culmination of the technology. I think analog music was kind of like at its height.
Right.
I'm from that era too because I would have reel-to-reel tapes when I go to the studio for sessions.
Right.
You don't have that kind of issue anymore. You just go to the studio and you pull out your phone and say, "This is my song."
Right.
Yeah.
I think I try to use that process today. Like I said, go in the bathroom and we come up with a melody or come up with lyrics, and then get into the studio and kind of build from there. Not really have anything pre-planned, no pre-planned tracks and things like that. And I kind of like it that way.
Okay. And everyone has to find their groove as to how they're going to write.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's fast forward to where we are now. And you've done a recording. You have a EP. Well, you did a single, and you have an EP that's being sold. I don't know if you officially released the EP.
No, I don't know.
So what's the story? What's the story with that? What's the story with the music?
What's the story with the EP?
Yeah, well, you did the single. You had the single first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's go from the single and come to the EP.
Well, which single are you talking about? The Storm is Coming, or
the first one.
Okay,
well, which one was available initially? Was it Game Face was the first one that was available?
I think Storm is Coming was available.
Okay, so let's do it. Actually, that's the song I think that won a lot of people over. But let's start with The Storm is Coming.
Well, Storm is Coming is again, I've been through some situations in my life, and again, unfortunately, with divorce and just being in a relationship, sometimes you have some idea of how you'd like it to go, or what you think even before you get into it, how it's going to pan out, and you think you're going to be with that person, for the rest of your life, and when it doesn't turn out that way, or it turns out that you're not compatible, sometimes, feelings, emotions, anger,
yes.
It all comes out, and I use the song Storm is Coming just to express my circumstances when I was married at the time, being in a relationship with someone who, you really don't understand one another, really don't know one another, and you feel like you're taken for granted. And again, it's the Terretta Storm is coming. It's coming of age. I've been through this. You treated me this way. And you just don't understand, brother, who you're dealing with. And that's basically what the song is saying. You're not going to control me anymore. Your thoughts and how you think of me has no effect on me anymore. I'm moving on. It's time to move on. And,
all right.
I'm sorry, but it's done. It's over, and I'm over it. I'm over it. So that's how that's how that song came about. Just right. I guess it's coming of age, I suppose.
Now, was it also like an experiment, meaning that this might have been the first thing that you actually released? And what ran through your mind when you saw the response of the song?
I think that day there was just like when we were in the studio recording that song. I hate to use the word of fluke, but I just think that there was some type of like cosmic thing going on, because my intention, what I thought in my mind, for this song. I think it had come out better, not to brag or anything, but I think it came out better than any of us thought. Just a chemistry between the musicians, and some of that was kind of freestyled, towards the end. I just think that was like one of the better days. I would love to have more days like that. While recording. Okay. It was like everything was just on point, and everything was aligned. So yeah.
Okay. So let's take us into getting ready for Game Face and to the EP and putting the band together. I know that must have been a journey to get that going. So let's talk about that and see what. Let's see how that story unfolds.
Okay. Well, with the song Game Face is a little different from what I'm used to doing. And this was kind of like an opportunity for me to get out of my comfort zone, because I am used to writing and having live music and things like that. But Game Face started from a pre-made track. With some, rock riffs with the guitar, placed on it. And for me, in the beginning, it was a little uncomfortable. But
okay.
It was a little uncomfortable because I wasn't used to. I'm used to having, my own spin on it. And again, Game Face, was a pre-made track, and when I think of pre-made track, I think of hip hop, and again, talking about how music was created back in the day, well, in the '80s and things like that. I honestly didn't know if it was a good fit. But after having the opportunity to work through it and have Mitch lay down the guitar tracks and things like that, I think it turned out pretty good, and actually it's become one of my favorite songs.
Was it a little weird? I mean, I take it in some aspects you had to be on the outside looking in as other
yes,
people.
Yes. And it's not idea. Yes, and this isn't it isn't one of the songs that I wrote. My manager wrote this song, and oftentimes when you have a song that someone else has written and trying to get in their head their thoughts and listening to them tell you what they want. For me, that was kind of difficult, but I pushed through it, and I think it came out pretty good. And again, you did say you were coming out of your comfort zone, so you're coming out of your comfort zone. And I realized that's good. To come out of your comfort zone, I think that's good. I think that it helps you grow as a performer. I think it helps you grow as a singer as well. So I'm not afraid anymore.
Amen. And has your writing gone through any adjustments since you've been going at this?
You know what? If you were, I have this old Kia Seraphone with some of my old stuff on it, and listening to some of the stuff that I wrote then, and some of the stuff that I've written now, I think that there has been I think that I have grown as a writer. I think that the music has, I would say, taken on more depth. I think that I've trying to, exercise a little risk in my writing.
Okay.
It has changed, and you have to understand where I was coming from then, just out of a marriage. I was married to a minister for a long time, so of course the I guess growing as a person and actually kind of finding out who I am has helped as well. And I think that kind of changed the format of my writing.
And it could be an aspect of growth too, meaning that you're at one stage, and then as things take off, you kind of there's growth. So let's talk about your management a little bit. When did you see that
That started from the door.
It started from the door. Okay. All right.
Yeah. That started.
I'll explain that.
But sometimes people see, and I don't want to come across as arrogant or anything like that. But sometimes, people see. From the outside looking in, people may see potential that you didn't know that you had. And I think that that's something that, Kitty had seen in me. I mean, I've always sang, my whole life. I've been singing since I was 5, and I've gotten positive reactions, but I think that singing in a church setting is totally different from singing in front of a group of people who can be very critical, and, aren't afraid to tell you, when you suck. Whereas in church, everybody's like, oh, girl, you go ahead. You go ahead and sing for the Lord.
Yes. But, they'll let you know.
Yeah, they will let you know. And I'm grateful that, he saw the potential in me. But having someone see the potential and then realizing, we could go somewhere with this is also helpful. But as far as the managerial part, I think that it started when he first heard me sing. He was like, we can, do something with this, or, we can be successful. We're still striving to do that.
What do you have coming up?
Well, at this point in time, we have actually been trying to expand outside of Delaware, hoping to get create a bigger fan base and, receive a different response. We do have some events coming up. Our goal is to do a couple more videos. And I think our process is just releasing music bit by bit, not giving everything, at one time to people. And maybe, just keeping people curious and intrigued. So it's a gradual process. It's a slow process.
What has your experience been? So, because this what you answer will tie into my next question. Mm-hmm. You're based in Delaware.
Yes.
And you've been doing a lot of dates in the Delaware area.
Yes.
What is your experience as an up-and-coming artist within Delaware, and what are you hoping that can be different about it, if any? Don't think too hard.
Well, I'm just trying to. I'd like to be honest, and I'd like to speak, candidly. With Delaware, I wish that Delaware was more open-minded. I wish that Delaware, was more accepting. I think that there is a clique mentality to a certain extent. I think that people are kind of afraid of the unknown, maybe, like good old boy mentality at times. You have people who've been out for a while that they're familiar with, and I think that it's kind of hard just to break through that. And I don't know if it's just a small town mentality or what it is. But I wish that they were more that was more welcoming and more willing to give opportunities to up and coming artists. Especially if you see the people responding. You know what I'm saying? I wish that they would respond, in kind as well. And that's just my take on it.
And what are the positives of it, though?
What are the positives? Well, like in everything, not everybody has that mentality. There are people who have opened their doors, who've allowed us to come in and play for them. There are people like yourself who are willing to take risks, and there's a small group of people who are all about new artists, who are all about, helping out or working together, for a common goal.
Okay.
So, and I'm glad that we've ran into, some people who are like that, because I think without them, opening their doors or extending a hand or their expertise, I don't think that we would have gotten this far, in Delaware. And we still have a ways to go. We still have a ways to go.
Maybe something is being built in Delaware. You never know.
Yeah.
maybe something is being built. Maybe the music fraternity would kind of do things in such a way that that at one point everyone was going to Atlanta, or they were going to New York, or they were going to LA. Maybe they'll come to Delaware. Maybe something might be happening here that.
I hope so.
You never know.
That would be awesome. But I just think that we have to believe it before we see it sometimes. And I guess that's faith. Or I guess, I don't know. I've never performed in New York. It's something I would love to do. In those big cities, I would love to perform and just see what it's like.
Well, I'm sure it's going to happen soon.
I would like that,
yeah, I'm very, very sure that's going to be happening soon.
That would be awesome.
I think your manager is very, he's very studious. He's focused, and and I'm sure the New York thing is going to happen eventually. Definitely going to happen eventually.
That would be awesome.
How can folks check out your music online, or how can they check out
great.
the new music that you have?
Well, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Reverb Nation, and I can be reached at they can look up www.facebook.com, Terretta Storm, and they can download music at www.cdbaby.com/m/artist/Terretta Storm.
Okay, so they can pretty much just search you in the CD Baby.
Yeah. Google me.
Yeah. So before you go, what's the makeup of the band? You know, you do have an authentic. I would say it sort of mirrors even some of the pop rock, or should I say the soul rock bands of the 80s. Talk about the makeup of your band.
The makeup of the band
helps. Yeah, that helps push the personality of Terretta Storm on stage.
Yeah, you're right. We are an alternative rock soul band. I think having people who have, the same common goal, who have vision, and I think that I'm fortunate to have those type of people to work with. Everybody wants the same thing. Everybody, believes in the music. Everybody wants to be successful.
Right.
But also I think that there's a genuine love for the music. And although I write, some of the lyrics, and although, Mr. Hawks, writes some of the lyrics, the musicians, they do have an opportunity to add, something to the music as well. And I think that that's helpful. Just having that kind of not only a business atmosphere, but also kind of like a family atmosphere to a certain extent.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's what helps with the band is basically the makeup of the band. We're kind of like a family.
Okay. And so you have, I know you have a bass player, you have a guitar.
We do have a bass player, Jimmy Davis. He's been with us. He hasn't been with us the whole time. I think 6 months he's been with us, and he came in. He has a very positive attitude. So he just wants to play. And we also have Mitch Wessel, who is the lead guitarist. They're both very talented, and again, Mitch, he just wants to play, but he also has a great ear. And at this point in time, we're looking for a drummer.
Okay.
Yeah, we are in the process of finding a new drummer who kind of has the same perspective. Yeah, and
it's part of growing pains. Yeah. Part of the growing pains is to get, you may have to replace a musician here or there or a member. It happens.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It goes with the territory. Definitely goes with the territory.
Yeah.
So is there anyone? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I said I'm seeing and realizing that now.
Yes. So is there any folks you'd like to just give a quick shout out to as we wrap up?
Of course, Kitty Hawks. Kitty Hawks, he's my manager, amongst other things.
Is there everything?
Yeah.
Team Terretta Storm?
Yes. And also, my children and all of those who supported the music, my family, and my dad. I have to give a shout out to my dad. He has helped in so many ways that people don't know about, and I'm just grateful for him. I'm grateful that he sees the vision, and I can call him and ask for anything. And he's there. So
I need a dad like that.
Well, I'm his favorite, so.
yes. Shout out to that.
Yeah, Terrence Butler, please add that.
Okay.
And again, if it wasn't for, Kenny, who saw more than what I saw in myself and, helped me to believe that, I wouldn't be, as far as I am now. And I'm glad that he's on my team. I just didn't want to get mushy. He's the love of my life. Yeah, but he's my best friend. He's my best friend, and he's my business partner, too. So.
Amen. All right. Well, I thank you for your time.
And thank you, Sam.
This was a pretty good interview.
For your company and, also, your help as well. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Nadira will kind of shout you out as well.
Yes. But, you guys are so down to earth, and we've been fortunate to meet you as well. With your company, and you've been taking the opportunity to do this for me. I appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So we look forward to more music.
Absolutely.
And, make it a great day. I know we're snowed in. But, stay warm and all that good stuff. All right, so we'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you.
All right, take care.
Okay, all right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.